A new class of zero-click attacks may let AI browsers reach into your files and accounts, and researchers say the problem is bigger than a single bug. Welcome to the Automated Daily, AI News Edition, the podcast created by generative AI. It is August 19th, 2026. I'm Trent Teller. Here are the AI stories worth your attention today. This episode is brought to you by CrispCall. CrispCall provides agentic cloud telephony for modern businesses. Find the link in the episode notes. We start with AI security, where the newest warning is hard to ignore. Zenity Labs says it has mapped a broader vulnerability class called PleaseFix across several agentic browsers, including offerings tied to Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, ChatGPT, and Copilot. The important part is not just that specific exploits were demonstrated. It is that these products may be inheriting a deeper design problem. The agent can act inside a logged-in browser session while also absorbing untrusted content as part of its decision-making. That combination can blur security boundaries the web has relied on for years, which makes this feel less like a patch cycle and more like an architectural challenge for AI-native browsing. On the evaluation side, two stories stand out. First, dig.bench is a new benchmark built around text-based games that ask a simple but important question. Can an AI agent discover hidden rules by experimenting, rather than just following instructions? Humans and models get the same limited interface and the same information, so the benchmark is really about scientific discovery under constraints. And right now, frontier models still struggle on the hardest tiers. Second, researchers at MIT and Harvard describe a failure mode they call role drift, where parts of a multi-module system quietly stop doing their assigned job, even as headline accuracy improves. In one case, most of the apparent gain was essentially fake. The message from both stories is the same. Stronger scores do not always mean stronger reasoning. If you care about running models locally, there's a practical update from the 24GB GPU crowd. In a tightly controlled test on an RTX 4090, QN3827B came out as the best default pick for most users, matching the speed of the earlier QN36 version, while clearly improving on coding, reasoning, and document question answering. Gemma 431B still looks appealing for strict tool use and vision work, but it asks for more memory and seems less comfortable in coding agent workflows. The broader takeaway is that local deployment decisions are becoming less about model marketing and more about fit, what actually works well within real hardware limits. That practicality matters even more on Apple Silicon, where a separate analysis argues the ecosystem still lacks a cohesive local inference stock comparable to what NVIDIA users get through CUDA. The complaint is not that Macs cannot run large models. It is that the software path is still fragmented, and benchmark numbers may not reflect how systems behave in long, real-world agent sessions. The author says the community should spend less time forking projects and more time consolidating performance work upstream. For Mac users, that's a reminder that raw compatibility is not the same thing as a mature platform.
Zooming out, there is a bigger strategic debate forming around who will control model behavior. One analysis argues NVIDIA's support for open and near-open model ecosystems is not charity at all. It is a way to encourage more companies to build and customize models, which in turn drives demand for GPUs and infrastructure. Sequoia is making a related argument from the application side, saying the next competitive edge may come from owning the intelligence layer itself, not just the user interface wrapped around it. In other words, some companies may increasingly choose to build domain-specific systems they can tune, govern, and differentiate, instead of relying only on rented frontier APIs. Another theme today is speed, and not just because faster responses feel nicer. A new essay frames the benefit as a deadline dividend. When decoding gets much faster, the saved time can be spent on extra reasoning, verification, or retry loops before a user or system hits its deadline. That turns speed into a capability multiplier, not just a convenience feature. A separate piece on test time training pushes a similar idea from another direction, arguing that some models may keep learning while they are in use, especially in settings like coding agents where repeated context actually matters. And in the market, Grok's new funding round after its deal with NVIDIA is another sign that the inference layer itself is becoming a serious strategic battleground. On the business front, Bloomberg reports that Anthropic is now running at more than $65 billion in annualized revenue. That is a run rate figure, not booked full-year revenue, but it still shows just how quickly demand for advanced AI models is scaling. In a different corner of the market, Cursor has launched Origin, a code hosting product built directly into its editor. The timing was awkwardly perfect, arriving just before a major GitHub outage, and it highlighted a broader shift already underway. AI coding tools are no longer stopping at autocomplete or chat. They are moving deeper into source control, pull requests, review flows, and the governance layer around software development. Finally, two stories are a useful reality check on AI output. In a benchmark of short video ad production, Fable 5 and Soul 5.6 did not produce a clear creative winner. Both could complete the workflow, but the real differences came down to style, cost, and editorial choices rather than obvious superiority. And that pairs well with a broader argument that AI does not automatically solve work theater inside large organizations. If a company is building the wrong thing, AI may simply help it move faster in the wrong direction. So while AI is clearly boosting output, the scarce resource is still judgment, deciding what is worth making in the first place. Thanks to our sponsor, Consensus. Consensus uses AI to help you find and understand research papers, and you can get a free month. Find the link in the episode notes. That is it for today's AI News Edition. Links to all the stories we covered can be found in the episode notes. Thanks for listening.